All right, I've got 7 o'clock. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Everybody okay?
loud and clear.
Um, Tonight, last time we talked about reviewing game film for your crew and things you could look at for the entire crew. And I thought tonight we'd talk about things you should be looking at for yourself, or perhaps you could look at it as when we're watching, we being the State High School League or evaluators, when we're watching a crew, what are we looking for from the referee position, and uh, what makes or breaks a referee as far as evaluating goes. I do have some plays to show after a short PowerPoint, and you guys will be happy to know that I've got plays from my review last year of Eric Oakstead, Bo Gaisley, um, Greg King, and I think the only one not on the line so far is Brian Kelly. So, and that's I took 4 crews and just went through their plays and picked out the plays that are kind of specific to the referee position. So I'm not picking on anybody. For each of you, there's a handful of plays. But for any of us, if you're working, say, 130, 40 plays a game, you're going to have a handful where maybe you could have done things better. Or perhaps where you did something really good. It happens once in a while. Any questions before we get started? I'm going to try to share the screen. Let's see. Okay, do you guys see that?
Yep.
And I'll start from the beginning for the slideshow. All right. As a referee, probably the biggest impact you'll have is that you're the one position that'll be judged on how your crew looks, how your crew works. Do they work well together? Do they struggle? Do they, not get through things smoothly? That'll all come back to you. Any of us that's been evaluated, say at the college level, very, very little of it is how good you called, roughing the passer. Most of it is, what were you guys doing that caused the game to start 5 minutes late? That kind of thing. So what are some of the things you look at? If I get to the field, I like to see a crew that's looking like they actually have some things they want to get done, whether that be watch the uh, teams warm up, talking to the chain crew, talking to the ball personnel, and not just congregating and talking together and throwing their heads back in laughter as they're telling each other jokes. On the field, you need to be businesslike. A huge thing is penalty administration. We touched on that 2 weeks ago. You don't, you know, when I would watch myself and we struggled getting in and out of penalties, I would really hate seeing sometimes how long it took to figure out something that really shouldn't have been that difficult. This is one of the biggest and most, it's going to happen a dozen times a game that you're going to be displaying your penalty administration, and the more smooth you can be and work together on that, the better off you're going to be. Measurements, something as simple as a measurement. It's kind of mundane, but we don't do measurements a lot anymore because we're Where, you know, you can go several, we've gone several games without having a measurement. But when you have one, you need to look like you know what you're doing. Non-measurement first down decisions. The wings that is opposite the chains, they're your go-to guy for telling you, hey, you need to take a look, or we're good, or, you know, giving you the signals that you didn't or did make the first down. If you stand there staring across the field for 8 seconds, you must need a measurement, because it shouldn't take you that long to figure out whether you have a first down or not. But again, it's a crew thing, not just you. Ball relays, nothing looks worse than long distance throws. Definitely not the Johnny Unitas overhand 30-yard bomb that I know you all are capable of still, but that's not what we want to see. And you don't really want the underhand toss that's 40 yards in the air. There's nothing that looks worse than the ball bouncing on the ground, and the umpire's chasing after it. Keep the throws short, use the relay. Game clock issues. This is big. If you don't handle the game clock well, you let it run when it shouldn't. It doesn't run when it should. Just not dealing well with the clock will really make a crew look bad. And handling the sideline. Does your crew let players in the restricted area? Are coaches on the field too much? For a crew to look good, you have to handle the sideline well, and your wings need to know that you're behind them as far as handling that sideline. Fumble piles, we'll see a few of these, but you can look a little bit, not too. Fumbles can make a crew look not so good if you're just not dealing with them well. You need to get in there, find the ball, get the clock stopped, and then signal one way or the other. And you can make yourself look good or bad by how you handle those. And similar is goal line piles. If you're all running in and nobody looks like they have any idea who scored, whether they scored or not, the longer that takes and the more hesitant you look, the more suspicious the coaches are that you don't actually have a clue as to whether they scored or not. Okay, so those are just some things I threw out there for, things I look for in a crew and how it's working. And for good or better or worse, you're going to get the majority of the credit or the blame for those things either looking good or looking not so good. Specific to the R position, related to penalty enforcement are your signals and announcements. It's really difficult to look good as an R if you don't do this well. Even when you don't have a microphone, you should be making announcements. There will be people on the field that can hear you. And let's face it, we're not in roaring stadiums, and maybe nobody will be this year, but because we're not in super loud environments, we can make announcements, and there's a good chance that the people on the sideline are going to hear. So that's important. Positioning and movement, that's key. If you have to be in the right position to start, most of us know where that is. But then after the snap, moving well and with a purpose. Don't have happy feet. Don't move when you don't need to. But when you do move with hustle and purpose. There we go. Hustle or lack thereof. I used to, once in a while, I'd see myself on film walking, and I have a few of those plays tonight. And Bernie Kukar said at one of Rick Kruger's college clinics years ago that nothing looks worse than a referee walking on the field. And he said, I don't care if you're moving 10 feet, you know, during those 10 feet, jog or run to that next spot and then stop. You know, if you only have to move 10 feet, don't walk those 10 feet. Hustle to get to that spot and then stop. So I got to where even things like after the extra point, all the teams are leaving the field. The guys that really have to run to the kicking and receiving lines, they're taking off. I would run from wherever I was, the 15, to the goal line, and then I'd stop and turn around and get ready for the kickoff. Even so, I always thought there's somebody there watching me, and if I'm walking like I'm lazy, they're going to notice it. You're going to get, if there's anything you're going to be judged on, it's what you let happen to the passer or the kicker. These can be tough calls, but that's why you're paid twice as much as the other positions, right, Royce? I was always paid twice as much, aren't you guys? Am I wrong? Related to that is protection of the quarterback. Is the referee aware of where the quarterback is and what he's doing? I got yelled at a Winona State scrimmage years ago by John Lusavanski, who at the time was, I think, a Big Ten official, later went to the NFL, and now he's out. But he, when that series was over, I heard him scream, "Mike Graff, get over here!" And I ran over and he said, "I want to know why the quarterback was on the ground and there wasn't a flag." And I had to tell him that I hadn't seen exactly how he got knocked down because I looked elsewhere, but I was pretty sure his own offensive tackle had knocked him over. And he said, "Okay, that better show up that way on film," and thank God it did. But I learned a lot from that simple statement. I want to know why the quarterback's, or that simple question, I want to know why the quarterback's on the ground and you don't have a flag on the ground. So let's see. Sorry about this. I need to, okay, stop share for a second. So those are the things, you know, there's lots of things you look at, but I'd say those are the big hitters. Any question on those before we start looking at plays? And again, these are just plays I picked out. A few of them are crew related, but a lot of them are just where the white hat looks good or could have done a little better on a particular play. So let me get the plays started.
Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
Years ago, somewhere in Sioux Falls, I think Bill Lemonier said, you know, have a routine for when you see this happen, this is roughing the passer, you know. And he said, I say ball, gone. Anything after gone is roughing the passer. Is that what you used, or what are your thoughts on that?
I used to really yell it loud to where you could hear it on game films. But by the end of my career, instead of saying ball's gone, which a lot of people advocate, I'd say ball's away. That just gave them a little extra time. And I didn't shout it out so much. I said it loud enough that the linemen could hear me, so that the blockers knew it was gone. And it just kind of took down the wrestling up in front of the quarterback a little bit. But I always figured if they hit the quarterback after I've said ball's away, that's 3 syllables. That's bad timing. Okay. So there's 2 ways you can have roughing. It's just the timing's okay, but it's too damn hard. You know, you belt them and it's strictly for punishment, or it's not really that big of a contact, but it's just too darn late. And the ball's away always helped me with the timing of that. it's not a requirement exactly, and an evaluator will never know whether you're doing it or not, but it did help me. And you really did have that feeling. If I say ball's away and he gets knocked down, then you were too late. And I had no problem telling a lineman, you just came in too late. And I'd say, you heard me say the ball's away, and then they'd kind of go, yeah. You know, they were never going to agree with you, but they would at least have to admit it. That's a good question. Any others like that, or any other questions?
Just kind of a comment, Mike. I was thinking that, over the years, it's been kind of tough to always evaluate both wing officials because one is never on the film. And so I'm not sure what the line of scrimmage officials are thinking, but I'm thinking it'll be better that they're switching sidelines. You'll be able to see one of them for a half. What if, not that it's going to matter now, but how did you kind of evaluate that official who was always off film, in your evaluations? I mean, if you're in the stadium, you're watching them, but when you're watching film, I know you've been breaking down film for us the last couple of years. What's kind of been your take on how you can judge what would have been the line judge in the past, usually not on film?
Well, that can be tough, other than when it's a play where I know they should be on film and they're not. If the camera, say it's a sweep towards, because it's the close one that you can't see. The one who's always under the gun is whoever's got the chains. But the close one, if there's a sweep down to them, the camera will tend to show me what they're doing, and I can see then if they're sliding the wrong way or not looking where they should look. But it's definitely true that a lot of times, if all you have is a sideline view, it's very difficult not only to see the line judge side, the press box side wing, it's also hard to see the back judge and the referee a lot. Because if they're in the right, if I can see them, then my comment is you're in too tight, right? I mean, if I can see a back judge, it's like, dude, you're supposed to be 20 yards back.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that is the limits of film. What I find when I'm actually at a stadium is that I wish I had a second look at stuff. Like on Huddle, you can keep going back and forth, and on when you're at the stadium, if somebody says, was that a blindside block, it's like, I have no idea, I wasn't looking there. So anything else? All right, do you see Mr. Oakstead here?
Yes.
Eric, are you willing to admit that's you?
That looks to be my manly physique, yes.
All right. Now on this one, Eric, you probably, and each of you, Bo and Eric, and I appreciate you putting up with having your plays here, but I'm asking forgiveness, not permission, of course, but you may have answers for some of these, but we don't need to debate everything. My take on this when I watched it, Eric, is you've got a flag here for a false start. And since you're the R, the false start would be one of the running backs. And this approached, best eyes in the history of the game for me, because I did not see anybody, leaving early enough to merit a false start flag. So I'll let it roll here, and you guys can chime in if you think different, but I'll let it go. So you had somebody rolling early, and I had a tough time picking it up. And if it's
right guard, maybe. It's the only thing I could see in the first run.
What's that?
The right guard, did he move?
Well, he shouldn't be flagging the right guard.
No, I remember this play, and I think it was the fullback that would get up out of his stance early, and this one was before the cadence of the quarterback. He got up early and left, but the video does not show it. So obviously, yeah, something that good
Yeah.
to review
On
and look
film,
at.
it shows up as being picky, but maybe on the field it was more obvious. So watch this guy.
I think it was him, yeah. Might have been the up back. Yeah, there's not enough there.
Okay, well, what I've got here, Eric, is I've got 20 of your plays and one each from the other guys, okay?
No problem.
I'm kidding. All right, I have here, and I don't always remember the plays when I'm looking at my notes, a suspect hold by a running back, and I think it's maybe this guy. But my question on the tape or on the review is, did you see it, and did you say something to him, or I'm trying to remember? It must be the tailback. Yeah, right there. See that? Now, how do you guys feel about this block? Either Eric or anybody. It's. I don't think I'm not sure it's a hold, but it looks funny because he goes to the ground, and it does sort of open things up for the quarterback. Any thoughts, Kurt, that make you mad if you're the defensive coach? Yeah, yes, always. So I guess the real question for any referee is not so much, was this a hold? Did we miss a hold? The question is always, did you see that block, and you judged it to be okay? And that's a good answer. But if you didn't, then it's like, well, make sure you keep your eyes on that and see it. Fair enough? And obviously it's a big play, so yeah. All right, I think this is Brian. And there's a couple ones like this where I have the quarterback rolling across towards the referee's side, so the referees properly let them cross their face. But then they stay looking inside. This one's not so blatant, but the quarterback really wants to be in a position to see any contact on the quarterback after he crosses his face. And see right here, he's looking down here, and then right at the end, he gets hit high, and it does leave the screen. So to be fair to Brian, he might have been looking at it, but we need to see this hit. And I don't know where he's looking. It's obviously blurred, but he might not be looking at him, and he needs to see this hit. That's part of protecting the quarterback. He's got to see this. So I'm not saying he missed anything, but if you're making a living doing that, if that's every play you're taking your eyes off the quarterback, eventually you're going to be Mike Graff getting yelled at by John Lusabansky at Winona State. And I was as guilty as anybody of taking my eyes off the quarterback when I shouldn't. Okay, this is Bo, I believe. So Bo, apologies, but okay, here Bo does a good job backing out at a 45-degree angle as the quarterback drops back. But then at the end of the play, you'll see him come forward to get the spot, and meanwhile the quarterback's getting dumped 5 yards behind him. He should have stayed deep and let the wing get the spot for him. I'll show you here. Okay, so the quarterback's getting buried, and Bo's here. He's kind of looking back there, but you'd rather be behind him, seeing everything that's happening. And if you look over here, your head linesman's doing a good job running up to get the spot. You don't need to worry about the spot. Let your wings take care of it. So stay deep, and don't don't worry about, I know what you're doing. You want to give him all the yardage he got as he was pushed back. But with him getting taken to the ground, you want to see all of that to the end. So just stay back there. Any questions or comments? Okay. Let's see. Here's a fumble pile mechanics. Greg, I think this is your crew. My view on this was that the umpire should have started digging sooner. The back judge came up too close to the pile. He should stay back. And once somebody needs to flap to stop the clock. And at the end, the head linesman is in there too, and that's 4 at the pile, and that's too many. So it's a big play. We got a fumble at the goal line, so obviously everybody's a little excited. See, okay, now don't just stand by the pile. Get in there and start digging. And again, look how close everybody is. We need to, on the good side, Greg, you did a good job signaling, letting everybody know what happened. But we need to be in better control of the pile, and we also need a few guys standing back to.
No, I remember that play specifically, and I would just say, that was the game. It was sleeting sideways in our face the whole game, so you lose a little concentration, and we had another bizarre play. I mean, the key to there is don't let bad weather or a weird play before affect anything after that is kind of what I learned from there. But yeah, we didn't stop the clock in time. It was just, we've talked about that a long time though, but there was other factors you got to get out of your mind the next play and just go.
Yeah, and this is Ben. That was me sitting there looking at it. It was a weird one because I couldn't tell if he had the goal line or not. And I was looking at it, and I was like, did he get in? Did he not get in? And I probably zonked out for a little bit. But part of the thought looking at it was, like, if I start diving in looking for a fumble and my guys are coming in with a touchdown signal, I just sort of froze. I was like, did I have a touchdown? Did I not? The ball sort of squirted forward then backwards.
Yeah.
It was a really weird, like, what just happened?
Right.
And then trying to figure out, if I would have been thinking more clearly, you dive in right away. But I think I hesitated a little bit thinking, was he in? And then if I'm diving in looking for a ball, and it'd be kind of a weird discrepancy, I guess.
Yeah. One thought on that, Ben, is that you're strictly digging for the ball, which is what you should be doing on the goal line anyway. So it really isn't any harm in you digging. If your guys come running up with their arms up, you're just finding the ball. The key is that Greg knows that they have a touchdown if indeed they did, so he doesn't signal, And the other thing here that was well done is, Ben, your beanbag is on your belt. Don't ever throw a beanbag for a loose ball from the umpire's spot at the goal line. Because if you have a beanbag out for a fumble and your wings are signaling touchdown, one of you need to work 4-man while the 5th guy gets the car and parks it up under the goalposts for after the game. So great job on not beanbagging that one. But we do have another fumble pile for Greg from your crew from this game. You had like 2 at the same spot on the field.
Yeah, no, it was a bizarre game, and it was like we talked to the wings, like you got to make a call. You either got to stop the clock, you gotta make a touchdown call. You got to do one of those things.
Right. Now this one, Eric does a great job. Something that Graf let go too often. The tailback here jerks and then resets, and he just false starts it, which is perfect. Don't let these go like Graf always did. See, he's got him, dinged him, good job. Kill it every time. Okay, now here, this is a crew thing. umpires backed up off the ball. Here comes Brian racing in, hoping they won't snap it before he gets there. And the whole thing is just so breathless. You know, just if this ever happens to you, tell your umpire in no uncertain terms, stay on the ball until I'm ready to go. I mean, you can see he's just panting, probably waiting for this play to start. A simple thing for your crew to help you out and make you look better, a little more under control. The play itself isn't. Let's see. Okay, now on this one, we got the quarterback is getting tackled, so there's some question of whether there was grounding. Might have been somebody in the area, but not sure. But it's all a moot point because the defense intercepts it and runs it in for a touchdown. Still, on this kind of play, you know, something could happen that would make that intentional grounding call important. Like if the defense had committed a foul prior to the interception, if you had intentional grounding also, you'd have double foul replay the down rather than a penalty against the defense. So ING should always be on your thoughts when you have this kind of play. I mean, and then the question is, at what point do you say he's down or not? I don't have a problem with that judgment here. But so my question at the time was, you know, did you guys, at least in your film review, talk about ING on that kind of play? Okay, here's a case where these are always tough unless you're Tristan Severson or Royce or any of the other 25-year-old athletic referees. If you're like me, these were hard, but the quarterback's going to roll out away from the referee. And basically, he walks. And that's what you can't be doing. Even if you're not going to catch him, at least jog.
Isn't he really close to the quarterback?
Um,
Like 5 yards? I think that's way too close.
let's see. Well, he's about 12 yards back of the snap, right?
Well, he looks awfully close to the quarterback. That's my first
Oops,
thought.
sorry.
But
Yeah. Well, if he's, of course, is this a 9-man game? It's 9-man, right?
that's in Leroy.
Yeah.
You know, depth-wise, he wasn't bad. I don't think his position is terrible here. What he needs to do, though, is he needs to be running. See how the entire play is away from him now? He's not really helping out. Just run the best you can to keep up. You know, when they're running away from you, you're not going to beat them to the sideline, but do make that effort to catch up. Okay.
Hey, Mike, can you play that one more time? I was looking for the wing official there in the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. I think
Must have been in the backfield, which is right. Oh, right there. Yep.
Yeah, that's MJ on that side, I think. Let's see, this play. This is here's one where the quarterback crosses his face, and rather than, you know, pivoting to follow the quarterback, at least with your eyes, you probably stay with the line play a little long, in my opinion. Don't let that quarterback potentially get hit and you don't know what happened. See, right here now, I'm pointing with my finger. That really helps you guys. But can you see my little arrow?
Yes.
He's looking straight at the blocking and he's going to throw a flag. But here you got your quarterback. There's a guy potentially going to get in his face. And yeah, you're going to get the flag. But if he ended up on the ground or took a shot to the jaw, you wouldn't know what happened. That's why it's important that you shift that. You don't, you know, it's okay to keep that focus on the back for a little bit, but You really need to get out there and see what happens to the quarterback. Okay, and this is a case where the quarterback, as he drops back, make sure you're dropping back at a 45. Don't end the play where basically he's even with you. I mean, it's okay here, but you're not going to get the best view at what's happening to him if you're even with him or even ahead of him. So again, that gets back to positioning and movement. Now, Bo, I think you're on the call here. I have to give you credit. I replayed this a few times on Huddle. Guys, believe it or not, when the ball hits the ground, there's 1 second left on the clock. It's an incomplete pass, but the clock runs down to 0. And I would have already been eating popcorn when Bo was running an extra play and had a second back on the clock. So God bless you, Bo. You've got the best eyes in the history of the game, but I replayed it, and there was indeed 1 second left when that ball hit the ground. How you saw that from behind, I'll never know, but he's right. Doink, 1 second, blink. See, I would have said, get half sober, boys. So excellent job, Bo. All right, Greg, one good thing, one thing that needs to be fixed was you did a great job catching the defense, giving a low block to the lead running back here, lead blocker. So you got the flag for that, but then instead of signaling,
call.
yeah, you signaled clip.
Right.
But fantastic job getting this. Good call.
Now, is that my, I mean, should I be the one on that or more the wing?
It's a good get by you. I'd expect the wing could see it. Any other thoughts, guys?
Darren and I have this debate all the time because I tell him that's his call. And
Well,
he never makes it. So I watch for that more than I probably should.
well, it's, you're going to be better at seeing the running back go low on a pass block, right?
Right.
But on that one, I'd expect the wing could have a look at it. Any thoughts from the others, Royce?
I was just going to say that I think, I try to tell our crew that I'm owning a lot of that stuff behind the line of scrimmage like that, because there's a lot going on in the line of scrimmage. So it's great if, especially it's kind of a safety foul. So I agree with you, Mike. This is an excellent get. I've frozen on a few of these over the years and just kind of, whether it was the offensive guy or the defensive guy, and just kind of go, what happened there? It looked like somebody went low, and by then it's too late.
Right.
But I really think us as referees, particularly on a play like this, that can be our primary call, because we are watching behind the line of scrimmage the backfield players. At least that's how my take on it.
Well, there you go, Greg. You got to tell Darren he's right.
No, that's fair. But and more on a pass, I can understand it a little more because guys are going downfield and
Right.
all that stuff. But I said, you got to at least watch that edge a little bit. But yeah, we just have fun with that. But we probably had 4 of those this year, and we missed one. And we talked about it. I said, did that guy go low? And it's like, yeah, I think so. I said, well, let's.
The real tough ones are when the linebacker cuts a lead fullback on an inside, inside the tackles, because obviously you're not going to see that. And here Greg does. I guess that's the clip.
Yeah, I did
signal.
the clip. Well, the Zumbrota coach was right there, and he was just bitching. And I go, it's on now. I was kind of talking to him while I was doing it, and saying, calm down, it's on them, you're fine. But
let's see. Here's another one where the quarterback doesn't, or I'm sorry, the referee doesn't backpedal. So as soon as he starts coming back, you should be backpedaling at a 45, and you'll see because he's even with the quarterback, he's kind of like looking either 90 degrees to the side, and then there's a little action here. Whereas if he had dropped back, he could verify that his quarterback was safe and more easily turn and see this. So it's just another example of why you want to drop back and stay behind the quarterback. Let's see. Okay, real nice call here, Bo, on a pullover hold by the left guard. My question is, and we can talk this through a little bit. This could arguably be 2 dings mechanically because you got a call on a guard and your umpire did not call the hold on the guard. But first, watch the left guard. You'll see he does a pullover hold here. So it's a real nice, really good call. But my question again is the U should probably get that, right? And I think he is right in your vision. So I think it was a legitimate for you to see it. So I wouldn't ding you. My question would be, your umpire should have seen it as well, or at least, yeah, he should have seen it and known it looked weird. So you get the flag in there, but again, here's a guy confronting the quarterback. Oh, you're a little caught up, probably trying to pick up the number. And if this guy had hit the quarterback in the jaw, you wouldn't have seen it. So really nice job getting a for real offensive hold, but put yourself in a better position to keep your eyes on the quarterback. Any other comments on that play? I really like the holding call. Let's see.
Oh, hey, this is Ben. I just one comment. I couldn't get to my mute button quick enough. You think I'd know this by now after 3 months of working from home? Just from a use perspective, that can be a tricky call if it's the guy's being pulled backwards to tell if the offensive guy pulled him down or if he just tripped over him.
Yeah, I think that's why I think it was a really good call by the referee. And since he was looking at the right place, he wasn't spending time on a key that was blocking legal. I just think it was a great get. And I think you're right. I think from the U's perspective, it's like, what just happened? It's really hard to tell those pullover holds. But they're real effective, a bigger guy, and he can make it look like he just bowled him over, but in fact, he, pulled him down. I guess they say you can tell by whether the blocker drops his butt. That's when they're doing the pullover. If he drops his butt to the ground, that's the sign that he's doing a pullover hold rather than being bowled over. Okay, here, this was more of a question and it gets back to judgment. I would guess that Bo had roughing here, and I didn't know that it rose to the level of rough. So it's really, rather than being a criticism, it's more of a question, and what do you use to gauge as a referee whether he's roughed? It didn't seem late to me. The timing seemed okay if I just let it run through.
Yeah, and I don't remember the play, but yeah, looking at it, it doesn't look like it would be this late.
Do you think you felt he was hit in the face, Bo? Or did you think it was late?
Looking at video, I don't think I thought it was late because it looks pretty good timed. I'd have to look back at my notes and see if I can find anything from that one.
And the way he hits him, it appears to be in his chest rather than his head. So just really more of a calibration for everybody to think about what they use as their denominators for what rises to the level of roughing.
This looks like his hand could have maybe hit his head or his arm.
Yeah.
That might be it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the film isn't good enough, but I did want to just say that if you thought it was timing, I don't think the guy was late. I mean, if you look at when gets to the quarterback, he's in the quarterback's face, and and he still has the ball. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of use the same thing, the ball's away, and that's not anywhere close to that. So I don't think it would have been timing.
right. You probably felt he went too high. All right, here's a second edition of Fumble Mechanics. I didn't see anybody stop the clock. And then the R, Greg, you didn't really signal a result. So this one was probably, if anything, a little worse than the first one
Oh,
because
much worse. Much worse.
because you didn't signal. Now, see, Ben, you're not digging yet. Or is this the?
I thought I saw somebody stopping the clock there, but maybe
No,
not.
I don't think so, because that's what that was my question. I don't think
check.
we ever stopped the clock till I think I stopped the clock.
Let me let's look at this one. We may go back to that one. There's okay. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Yep. This was a fumble pile, and I think Greg, what's happening here that would oh geez, do you guys still see what do you see now?
It's so choppy. It's hard to follow.
It's hard to tell.
Sorry, I clicked on something and was looking at something different from you guys. Oh shoot, what play are we on? Anyway, I think what happens there is everybody looks a little uncertain. Nobody's sure what happened. Did we score? Did we fumble? Now, Ben, what you want your umpire to be doing is digging for that ball. Just find the ball, and wherever it is, plant it. And you can see there's nobody that looks like they want to make a call here. And Greg, I think you felt hung out to dry.
Well, I was asking Darren, I said, did he score? Did you stop,
Yes.
Did you stop the clock? Did you, when I look up and the clock's running and I'm like,
Now in this play,
what happened here?
Yeah, this play ends up being a touchdown, but it takes a long time to get there. It seemed like it opened up to the line judge side, but he didn't want to make a call. And finally, your head linesman came in and shot his arms up and sold it. So good job on finally getting it. Now, Ben, what you want your umpire to do is find that ball and plant it on the ground. I think you actually pick it up or have it in your hands. You don't want to do that. See how long it's taken here?
Sorry, the video is really choppy.
Yeah.
Did 41 come up with the ball?
Yeah, it looked like
went in. 41 came up.
Yeah, it looked like somebody on defense came up with the ball.
41 White on the ground there. He holds the ball up.
Yeah.
In his right hand.
Yeah.
I think that it was a fullback dive. It was a question of whether it was in or not. We had this happen a few times, as Greg was alluding to.
Right.
Where Greg and I are in there, and we were sort of looking around for what you got.
Yeah.
The first one I froze up. That one, it was fullback dives in. He's on the ground, helping to peel guys off the pile, I guess. But
right. Neither of the line guys said they had a good view of it until Darren got in there, and he kind of, figured from where the positions were that, it was over.
Yeah, you got to make a call. It ended up fine. It's just
nah, that was a bizarre game.
I picked a good one to review.
No, it is. I mean, yeah, you learn from that stuff. We'll never do those stupid things again, I hope.
This one here is one, Bo, you get a call there in the middle, not sure what it is, but then you need to trail the quarterback. You're just you're walking back there, and again, just try to jog to get from place to place. This was a real interesting play. It's like an extra point, and okay, the quarterback, somehow the ball ends up on the ground here, and Brian is signaling like this is a try. So he's either saying the try is no good or it's an incomplete forward pass. And I don't know what the call was, but it just looked like a maybe too quick. Just let it. It looks like a fumble. So I'm not, you got to let it play out. Maybe the offense will pick it up and run it in. If it's an extra point, that doesn't appear to be a forward pass. You guys agree?
Pretty sketchy video for me.
Let's see. Here, this is the line judge needs to get the ball and then set it on the ground. Instead, Brian just kind of stands behind her and, put the ball on the ground. And then finally, and this is the last one, just measurement mechanics. We don't want the line judge holding the back stakes. Let the chain crew do that. And look at all these guys clustered around. What the line judge should be doing is clearing these guys out. Let the press box have a view of the measurement, and try to give it's important to give the press box a look. Let them have a look, and we don't need all these guys in the vicinity of the toss or the measurement. Keep them away. It's okay to have one captain from each team up there. So it's 7:52. That was the last play. So we'll be wrapping up here. Any thoughts or questions? What I was trying to do again is just show you, things that would stand out to me as to whether a crew is, ready for the state tournament or ready for the next step, and the kinds of plays that show, whether your crew is clicking, running on all cylinders, or whether it still needs a little more experience. And the kind of, I think more often than not, as a referee myself, I didn't move enough rather than moving too much. So that's the good news, because that's what I see in this film review too, is that at least we don't have happy feet and we're running all over the place. But watch yourself on film, and if you see yourself walking, just kind of nudge yourself and say, I gotta remember to run from one place to the next. And unfortunately, with the quality of film we get, a lot of times you're not really going to get any indication of whether you got these roughing calls correct or whatnot. But you can see how well you're moving, and you can see how well your crew is doing on some of these things, like these fumble pile mechanics. It's just not something we work on or talk about, but we should, and say, hey, if you're the first one at the pile, start digging. Next guy, stop the clock. Couple guys need to stay back, watch players, keep players away from the pile. Don't let them start congregating there. So things like that. Goal line mechanics are huge. Keep that ball planted if you're the umpire. That'll take care of a big chunk of problems. I've got the ball right here. And one time Warda did it in a game at St. Olaf, and I think he was almost squeezing it flat. He was pressing it down so hard. So, any questions in the last couple minutes here, guys, or anything you want to talk about from any of these plays or the PowerPoint?
Well, I
got a
just see guys kind of here and there, and I looked up my notes, and I try to keep a 12 to 14 yard. I imagine that I'm got a pull between me and the quarterback. I'm not going to get farther away than 12 to 14 yards. I'm not going to get closer than that. Kind of following around the field. Is that good? I've been doing that for a long time.
The 12 to 14 yards is to the line of scrimmage, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm during the play. I'm not going to get closer or farther away than that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Royce, we know of talking in college to guys like Mike Cannon, they love being wide. So I'm sure they're usually at that kind of a distance. In high school on Friday nights, how wide do you get, Ryan? You don't want to get, way outside the tight end or whatever.
No, I'm starting right about where the tight end would be. But if he's running around, scrambling back, whatever, I'm maintaining that same distance on the field. I'm not standing in that spot at all. I'm running.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So you start out if the quarterback's in a pistol or shotgun and he's 7 yards back, let's say, and you're 14, you're at some distance of 7, 8, 9 yards away at an angle. Keep that distance and angle or back out at a 45 as the play develops. If that quarterback drops back, keep yourself at take yourself back at a 45 to get yourself wider and get yourself out of the mix. And but keep that depth. Don't let them get even with you or
Right.
behind you. That's the worst.
Right.
If you're between the quarterback and the rushers, you're in trouble.
That's why I said a pole, because I'm not getting any closer than that pole. It's a hard area. That's what I'm going for. I'm not getting too close. I'm not getting too far away. That's what I use.
Yeah, I think that has validity to it. It's you don't want happy feet, but you don't want to be frozen to the turf either. You need to move with the quarterback, and you'll go a long way as a white hat if you're good at protecting the quarterback. If you're not, it really doesn't matter how good you are at other things. You can be the best false start white hat in the state. But if you're letting the quarterback get decked and you have no clue why he's on the ground, that's where the coaches, they need their quarterbacks protected. That's what they expect. So yeah, that's priority number one. Always has been and always will be, I guess. You need to be able to tell the coach why you don't have a flag, even though there are guys on the ground. If you can't tell them that, they're not going to be happy, even, especially if you've added insult to injury by flagging their team for a hold. So anything else, guys? Otherwise, we're going to have a meeting again in 2 weeks, and it'll be the day after the state high school league meeting, and maybe we'll know more about whether we're really going to be playing ball or not. Carleton pulled the pin in the MIAC, and the junior colleges conference is done. They're not going to play. So it's really hard to say what's going to happen. And I'm not sure anybody knows. People have hope, but nobody really knows how it's going to go, what the impacts will be for small schools that already struggle with numbers. The other thing I'll throw out is I saw today that Nickleby was quoted in the Star Trib that there's about 500 guys registered right now for football, which is a third of the usual number. So I think there's a whole lot of us just waiting to see rather than beg for a refund. 'Cause
Well,
that we
they-
won't
they-
get.
They set a dangerous precedent for the spring stuff when they didn't
Yeah.
refund anything.
right. So that's why they set the late fee to August 7th, which actually was a nice thing for them to do because it gives you at least a little better idea of what's actually going to happen. So,
Yeah. Hey,
All
hey,
right.
Mike, what's their
Yeah.
idea on these
on what?
these electronic whistles?
I do you have one? I'm not
Yeah.
seeing it.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird
Demonstrate.
sound. It's a weird sound. Let me just tell you that. Like here.
Sounds like a razor or something.
It does. It's odd. I don't know.
They're gonna think robots are officiating.
But you know, if you are doing it right, at least you're not putting your hand to your mouth after touching
Oh
the
man.
ball,
Yeah,
which I'm not doing.
Jeez. Never thought of that.
Well, hey, this is Ben. Today on the New England Journal of Medicine, the first vaccine study came out, and they had all 40 some or 50 some participants develop neutralizing antibodies. So it was a good step in the right direction vaccine wise today.
oh, that's good. Oh, maybe that'll save the season. Who knows? All right. Well, if there's nothing else, if there's something you want to talk about next time, but hopefully we'll have more information to talk about the season. But if you do have something you want to talk about, just shoot me an email. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Thanks, guys.